Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about the books that are sci-fi fantasy books that came out in 2019 and that I should have read in 2019 and didn't because I suck. Here is that list, and it's a lot of them, so let's get started. The first one is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter, which is the first book in this new series called the Burning series. And this one is pitched as Game of Thrones meets Gladiator, which I love both of those things. So I'm already sold based off of that. But then on top of that, listen to this. This is about a foreign people. They have women who 1 in 2,000 women has the power to call down dragons, and 1 in every 100 men is able to magically transform himself into bigger, stronger, faster killing machines. What? That sounds awesome. So yeah, I'm all in. That sounds awesome, and I really hope to read that next year. So the next book is, I think, more of a young adult fantasy, but it's called Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kruger. And this one, it looks like follows a cast of 4 main characters. And it says that it's a unique fantasy world of war and wonders where empire is won with enchanted steel and magical animal companions fight alongside their masters in battle. So I'm in just based off of the fact that there are magical animal companions in this world. You don't need a lot to sell me on a book. Just give me a magical animal companion and I'm in. So that sounds great. And I really haven't heard anyone talk about this series. And I love finding books that not a lot of people are talking about. Because I've noticed that we all kind of start to talk about the same books after a while. So it's nice to find a new one. And this sounds like a really good one that should be talked about. So I definitely want to read this next year too. The next one is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, which is a new book, or a book in a new series called The Tide Child. And this is an adult fantasy that takes place in a world that no longer has dragons, and there's these big battleships that are built from the bones of ancient dragons, and they're fighting this war between countries or whatever. They spot the first dragon in centuries, and basically these warring kingdoms go after the dragons. So again, another fantasy that has dragons in it, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll read it. This one sounds really cool. This is called The First Girl Child by Amy Harmon, and this is an adult fantasy but has romance in it as well, and I think the romance is stronger than most fantasy romances. Like, it's at the forefront in this one, and it's a standalone, which is always nice to see because some people don't want to read these huge series. And this one says it's about a bastard son of a powerful and jealous chieftain who is haunted by a curse that was leveled by his dying mother. Abandoned and rarely loved, she plagued the land with her words. From this day forward, there will be no daughters in Salok, the kingdom. The son is gifted with inhuman strength, and he is blessed with an all too human heart that beats with one purpose: to protect Alba, the first girl child born in nearly 2 decades, and the salvation for a country at risk. This sounds so cool. So it sounds like, even though it's gonna concentrate a lot on the romance, I just really am fascinated by this like curse that takes away all the women, and like the repercussions of that, and this man who is kind of tasked with protecting like the one woman. So I'm really excited to see what this one is all about. And I think Amy Harmon usually writes more of like contemporary or historical fiction, so I'm very curious to see her fantasy. The next one is Exhalation by Ted Chiang, and this one is a series of short stories that are all like sci-fi based, I believe. Just heard really good things about this, and I'm trying to get more into sci-fi. Ted Chiang wrestles with the oldest questions on Earth. What is the nature of the universe? What does it mean to be human? and ones that no one else has even imagined. So, I mean, that sounds awesome. These sound like really cool, thought-provoking sci-fi stories. And I don't usually read short story collections, but I've just heard really good things about this one. So definitely want to give that one a try as well. Okay, another dragon one, because I'm trash for dragons. This one is called The Novice Dragoneer by E.E. Knight. And this is, I think, more of a young adult fantasy. It's a series about an impoverished girl who enters into a military order of dragon riders, but her path won't be as easy or as straightforward as she expected. Really? Intrigued. So it just sounds like it's about this orphan girl who runs away at first opportunity to join a clan of like dragon riders and prove herself as this dragon rider and all the kind of trials she has to go through to do that. It just sounds like a really fun time. Like, who doesn't like a good dragon rider story? So I'm into it. And that cover, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Okay, this one, I didn't even need to read a whole lot to like put it on my TBR, which I don't know what that says about me. I kind of just add things to my TBR very willy-nilly, but this one sounds so cool. It's How Rory Thorne Destroyed the Multiverse by Kay Eason. It says that it's the first in a duology that reimagines fairy tale tropes within a space opera. The Princess Bride meets Princess Leia. That's literally all I read. And I was like, oh, add. So this one sounds awesome. I have heard absolutely nobody talk about this book. So again, I like finding books that no one else is talking about and giving kind of a shout out to those, because we do talk about the same books a lot on BookTube. So this one, I'm intrigued. If you like The Princess Bride in space, maybe you'll like this one. This one I do hear a lot of people talk about, and I don't know a whole lot about it. I've heard kind of mixed reviews. That's Middle Game by Seanan McGuire, who also wrote the whole, what is it called? The Every Heart a Doorway, the Wayward Children series. This one, it has a really intriguing premise. It's about these two twins who kind of have these different skills. One is skilled with words and languages come easily to him. The other one is really good with numbers. Numbers are her world, her obsession, her everything. And it says Roger and Dodger, the two twins, aren't exactly human, though they don't realize it, but they aren't exactly gods either, not entirely, not yet. So that sounds, I mean, again, it doesn't take a whole lot for me to add it to my TBR and want to read it. So that just sounds really good. And I do know that that one's been a bit more popular on BookTube, but I still would really like to read it and see how I fall in those reviews. The next one is The Raven Tower by Anne Leckie. This is an adult fantasy, and it says that gods meddle in the fates of men, men play with the fates of gods, and a pretender must be cast down from the throne in this breathtaking first fantasy novel from Anne Leckie, the New York Times bestselling author and winner of the Hugo, Nebula, and Arthur C. Clarke Awards. So this is a very celebrated author. I have not read anything by her, but it sounds like she doesn't write fantasy. So this is her first fantasy, and it just sounds like a very political fantasy world. I believe it's a standalone, which again, I like finding standalone fantasies because you don't have to commit yourself to this humongous series. So this one sounds really intriguing. The cover is gorgeous as well, so I'm into that. I like when covers are pretty. So this one sounds really good, and I would love to give this one a try. You'll notice a theme here. I'm trying to find books that I really don't hear anyone talk about on any channels, at least on BookTube that I've seen. So a lot of these hopefully are new to you that you haven't heard of before, and you're being introduced to something that might interest you. Another one I haven't seen anyone talk about as well is The Future of Another Timeline by Annalee Newitz. And this one is a sci-fi like time travel novel. It's an adult. It says it's a story of time travel, murder, and the lengths we'll go to protect the ones we love. It says it alternates between two timelines, 1992 and 2022. And obviously the person in 2022 wants to rewrite things in the previous timeline. So again, I'm trying to find books that no one's talking about. I'm really fascinated by time travel. I love time travel as a trope. I just haven't seen it done well in a book that I've read yet. So I'm always willing to give a time travel book a try. So this one sounds really promising. I really want to read this one, and I hope it's good because, gosh, I would love to find an awesome time travel book. If you have any time travel book recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. All right, we're almost done. I only have 2 more. The first one being One Word Kill by Mark Lawrence. I have not read anything by Mark Lawrence, but he is a very popular fantasy author. But it sounds like this is more of a short sci-fi series, and it looks like it's 3 books that are already all out that came out last year, and they're all like around 200 pages. So this seems like it would be a really quick read. The One Word Kill, what it says, in January 1986, 15-year-old boy genius Nick Hayes discovers he's dying, and it isn't even the strangest thing to happen to him that week. Nick and his Dungeons and Dragons playing friends are used to living in their imaginations, but when a new girl joins the group and reality becomes weirder than the fantasy world they live in, none of them are prepared for what comes next. This sounds very like Stranger Things to me. It's 80s. It's about these kids with this girl who's introduced to the group. So I'm in. It says that the main character finds himself in a race against time to unravel an impossible mystery and save the girl. So this sounds like a lot of fun, and it seems like it's super short, easy to get through, and all of the books look like they're already out. So that's awesome. I definitely want to get to this next year. The last one is just really a fun one. I saw the name of the book and the cover and was like, okay, I have to see more about this. So this one is called The Girl Who Could Move Shit With Her Mind by Jackson Ford. And this sounds so great. It is a sci-fi fantasy adult novel about a girl named Tegan Frost who has telekinetic powers, a skill that the government is all too happy to make use of, sending her on a secret break-in mission that no ordinary human could carry out. But all she really wants to do is kick back, have a beer, and pretend she's normal for once. This sounds like it's very witty and humorous. I've not really read any like humorous fantasy. I know like the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett is more of like a humorous fantasy series. So I would love to like get into some fantasy that has some humor and wit in it. So this one just sounds great, and like I'm in. Look at that cover, the title, it just sold me. So this one sounds like a ton of fun. Those are all of the books that are sci-fi fantasy that I wished I had read in 2019 that had come out this year. It's not 2020 yet. So hopefully some of these are new to you. I tried to pick those that aren't talked about a lot, so hopefully you found some new recommendations, some new books to add to your never-ending TBR if it's anything like mine. So definitely let me know in the comments down below what sci-fi and fantasy books you wish you had gotten to this year. I would love to know. And if you have any other recommendations for me based off of any of these books, let me know those as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it that thumbs up and subscribe if you want. You don't have to, but you can. Until next time, bye.